Welcome back to the channel. We're here with another Frostgrave Sprue review. This time it is the Frostgrave Soldiers. These miniatures were kindly provided by this video's sponsor, North Star Military Figures. So, we did the wizards, now we're going to do the soldiers, and we're going to have a look at the contents of this lovely shiny box with this rather imposing Slavic looking gentleman on the front. I have to say the artwork on all of these is very, very nice. It really evokes the feeling of the sort of wintry, barren hardships of, of winter that these people would be fighting through. So let's have a look in the box and see what we've got. So this box builds 20 figures, 28mm, all in hard plastic. There's all sorts of bits and bobs in here, as you can see. We've got crossbows, we've got swords and shields. There's I think that's like a two-handed axe by the look of it. And there's a bow here as well. So there is the option to create quite a lot of the basic and a few of the specialist infantry types just from this one box, which is a massive bonus. So let's have a look inside. So in the box we get two of these 25mm round bases. And we get 4 identical sprues. So we're going to be looking at obviously just one of these today, as they're all identical. So let's start with the bodies. Now, if we can see here, there are 5 bodies per sprue, and all fairly similar in pose. Obviously this is before we've put on the weapons and heads, etc. And as you can imagine with a lot of North Star stuff, it gives you a lot of options for building the different infantry types, whether that be a man-at-arms, an archer, a ranger, an infantryman, all sorts of stuff. So very nicely detailed, unlike the pretty much devoid of mold lines, which is fantastic. I don't know if this box came out after the wizard set, but that's a big improvement. That's what we like. So all of the 5 bodies tend to follow the same sort of look, and that is, very wrapped up in furs and lots of layers. As you are fighting in a frozen city, that would make a lot of sense. The heads, if we have a look here, we have, as we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 heads there. And as I say, this builds 20 miniatures, but you've got 10 heads per sprue. So you've got 40 heads altogether, which is going to make a, there is no way on earth that you can build 2 of the same without trying, So that's fantastic. Very nice variety of heads. Again, what I liked in the Wizards box is you have the sort of grizzled, bearded, older guys there. And this head, I think, is one of my favourites. The guy with the sort of almost like a Buccaneers hat. I'm probably guessing, somebody's going to correct me on this, but I don't know the terminology in real life. But to me, that's a Buccaneers hat or a prospector hat or something like that. And then alternatively, there are the younger sort of looking heads without facial hair. There's a very old gentleman over here who looks pretty grizzled and probably quite fed up, as I suppose you would be. This is fantastic. You've got one. This one here looks very much like a sort of Danish Viking invader. Yeah, there's a lot of variety here as well, which is fantastic. Onto the weapons. A huge assortment of weapons. Massive assortment of weapons. There's bows with the corresponding arms here and here. You've got a club. Crossbows, again, with a corresponding hand to hold it in place, very much like this one here, as you can see here. We have short daggers. I don't know whether that's supposed to be a dagger or a sword. It looks like a long dagger or a very short sword. I'm going to say it's a sword, given this one here is most definitely a sword. There's a couple of shield options, very plain. But I suppose if you had some sort of Cities of Sigmar or, well, any of the GW transfers, then that would be an easy thing to pop on there. We've got some double-handed weapons, which I find very, very interesting. So I'm guessing this would be for your infantrymen. Double-handed weapon, and I think it's light armor. So this poleaxe looks particularly mean as opposed to this hand axe, although to be on the receiving end of that, I'd imagine is probably quite painful as well. And we haven't even got on to all the gubbins, which of course, as you know, is one of my favourite bits, all the gribblies. So in the gribbly section, we have, backpacks, rope. I think that's supposed to be a quiver. It's either a quiver or a sort of a case for a scroll, maybe. This is very interesting. Let's see if we can get this into focus here. A loose helmet, which is great. So either as a sort of scenic piece, I suppose you could pop it on a sort of a belt buckle as a sort of, the guy's taking it off. Or I suppose you could pop it on one of the bear heads if you really wanted it to have a helmet. But, it's great that the option is there. The ropes I like, especially if you're going to be building things like treasure hunters from this. It would make sense that they would have a rope on their belt or on their back to help get to those difficult to reach areas. But you also have a torch here, so those open hands would be quite nice to be used along in conjunction with that. Probably my favourite piece of gubbinry is the lantern, which I think is just a fantastic atmospheric addition. The only piece of this that confuses me a little is this double-handed greatsword here, because just looking at the angles of how these stick on, it doesn't look like it would be. This arm doesn't look like it would cross over the body to hold the pommel of the sword in any way. It looks like they would be sort of flat to the body of the body, making it a weird position. But we'll see. We're going to be building these. We'll build 5, I think. We'll build 5 of the soldiers in the same way that we did with the wizard video. We'll build a few of these to show the options. And then we'll also be painting some of these up as well. The price will be coming up on screen now, and this is the current price as of today, which is the 13th of February 2026, from Northstar themselves. Other retailers obviously will have different pricing, but I'm going to give you the sort of from the horse's mouth price so that you can get an idea of how much this is all worth per mini. As I say, you get 20 miniatures out of one box, 4 sprues, 2 sprues of bases, 20 miniatures. So yeah, nothing to complain about here on the surface of it. Let's get a few built and let's see what we can do. Thank you once again to Northstar Military Figures for supplying this box set and also for sponsoring this video. In fact, sponsoring this series. We'll be doing the build in a separate video, and we'll also be doing the painting in a separate video as well. Ultimately, this is going to be for a campaign where you will see the miniatures in action, maybe not as an entire battle report, but certainly dipping in and out of various games that we will be playing. We've also got the Advanced Spellcraft book, courtesy of Osprey Games, who have kindly sent those over so that we can work on some content together. So thank you, George. And yes, please like, comment and subscribe if you'd like to see more Frostgrave from me. You can also find me on Instagram, TikTok and a host of other places via my link tree, which will be in the description of the video. Thank you very much again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.